23 years ago at the Siegel College of Judaic Studies, Rabbi Jeffrey Schein emphasized the importance of not only looking at biblical narratives, the weekly parashah, for example, in light of the Meforshim, the classical Jewish commentators, but also looking at the potential emotional and psychological tensions and issues that were underpinning many of the biblical stories that we read and often don't think about. For example, in Parashat Vayera, in the Akedah, in the binding of Isaac, of course, Hashem intervenes to stop Abraham Avinu from carrying out the sacrifice of his son. Now, the Torah then tells us that after this, Abraham returns to his young men. But it doesn't specifically mention that Isaac was with him. In fact, we never see Isaac again with Abraham. Now, of course, Abraham is intimately involved with preparing for Isaac's future by securing a wife from his family. But I think it's interesting that we never see the two individuals together. And the fact that in Parashat Hayeh Sarah, we have the death of Sarah, and according to Rashi, Rabbi Solomon ben Isaac, Sarah dies as a consequence of someone coming to her and telling her of the Akedah, instead of telling her your son Isaac lives, and then telling her that Abraham Avinu was about to offer him as a korban, that she dies as a shock. Did that potentially cause tension and grief in the life of Isaac and potentially in his relationship with Abraham, his father? Now, if we think that's perhaps reading too much into the text, we can look at other passages in the Torah itself. The tensions that exist between Jacob and Esau, Rivka siding with Jacob rather, and Isaac siding with Esau. We look at the tensions between Joseph and his brothers. And we see this throughout the biblical text, throughout the Tanakh as well. We can look at the case of David HaMelech, of David the king, whose own sons, Avshalom, for example, attempts to overthrow him in a coup and violates the intimacy that he has with concubines by taking them as his own, as a sign of his ascendancy to power. But David has other sons who are, in essence, attempting to do the same thing. Of course, we have the case of Ammon and Tamar. We have the challenges going back to Jacob and his 4 wives, a blended family. The tensions that exist between 2 sisters, Leah and Rachel, and all the things that happen, Reuven and Bilhah, which many of the commentaries tend to smooth over by offering an alternative interpretation. My point is that sometimes the biblical texts provide us with indications of the very real lives that our forefathers and foremothers experienced. And in many ways, this is sometimes bothersome to many individuals who read the commentaries in an attempt, I would say, to over-spiritualize the lives of these individuals. These individuals had the knowledge of Hashem, which far surpasses ours. I don't think anyone would question that. They had emunah, they had faith and bitachon, trust in Hashem, which we can only in many ways aspire to. But I think that in many ways, deifying them to the point of not recognizing that there were very real issues and tensions and failures and weaknesses that they experienced, in many ways undercuts our ability to enter into a meaningful relationship of trust and faith in Hashem. When we realize that our forefathers and foremothers had real tensions and struggles that they faced, in many ways the weaknesses and the things that we face should, in some sense, come into focus and provide us with some type of encouragement that we also can aspire to have an intimacy with Hashem that is truly special and unique to our lives. It's not to in any way undermine the importance of living a life that is reflective of the Torah and mitzvot, but and of course to recognize the importance and the consequences of sin. The consequences of these things are very real, but also to realize that Hashem made use of individuals who were flawed, who were imperfect, and who had real challenges in their lives. So I pray that this, in many ways, will be an encouragement to those of you who face challenges in your life, maybe a particular challenge that you're facing right now, and that you'll realize that the great men and women of faith of the Tanakh also faced many challenges in their own life.